in this video we are going to look at the large-scale production of sodium carbonate. You find that this sodium carbonate, it has a variety of uses. For instance, sodium carbonate, it is a raw material in the paper industry and also in the glass making industry. And also you find that this sodium carbonate, it is used in water softening. So production of the sodium carbonate, it can be produced in two ways. The first method is through extraction from Trona, whereby Trona is a double salt that has got sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and the water of crystallization. The second method of obtaining the sodium carbonate is through the solvay process. So in this video, we are going to start with the first method of large-scale production of sodium carbonate, which is extraction from Trona. And then in our next video, we are going to look at the solvay process. So you find that in extraction of Trona, sodium carbonate can be obtained from Trona, whereby Trona is obtained from the salty lakes through when Trona crystallizes at a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. So Trona crystallizes at a temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. When Trona is crystallized, it is removed and taken to the first step, which is the washery. In the washery, the Trona is washed with water to remove, this one is Trona. It is washed with water to remove mud and small rocks. So here we introduce water. So in the washery, it is washed with water to remove mud and small rocks. So here we remove mud and small rocks. Then the Trona that is free of mud and small rocks is then pumped to the next chamber, which is referred to as the centrifuge. In the centrifuge, the Trona is water is removed from Trona to make it dry. So in the centrifuge, water is removed. So from the centrifuge, we obtain dry Trona. So here we have dry Trona, where it is pumped to the next chamber, which is the kiln. In the kiln, the temperature is raised. Here, the temperature is raised to 300 degrees Celsius. When that temperature has been obtained, the double salt, which is which comprises of this Trona, comprises of sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and the water of crystallization. So when the temperature of 300 has been obtained, it will decompose the sodium hydrogen carbonate to produce sodium carbonate. So the first equation for the kiln is, we have sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and the water of crystallization. And the water of crystallization, it is heated. To remove the first equation, we remove the water of crystallization. So here we will obtain sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, plus the water of crystallization. So here we have solid and liquid. So here, in the first equation, we remove the water of crystallization. The second equation now is the decomposition now of the sodium hydrogen carbonate for us to obtain sodium carbonate. So the second equation will be sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate. We heat, we will obtain sodium carbonate solid plus carbon dioxide gas plus water. That is the equation that will lead to production of sodium carbonate. Now, to make it a chemical equation, we must balance it for it to be a chemical equation. So here we put 2, and sodium will be 2 times 2, 4 plus 2 will be 6. Here we have 2, so we put 3. And we find that our equation is balanced. So here, the sodium carbonate obtained now from the kiln is now taken to the next chamber, which is referred to as the heat exchanger. Here, after production of sodium carbonate, it is then moved or pushed to the heat exchanger. This one is the heat exchanger. So this one is hot sodium carbonate. The hot sodium carbonate is pumped to the heat exchanger where the temperature is decreased. That is, the sodium carbonate is cooled. From here now, it is taken to the grinder and the sieve. We move to the grinder and the sieve. In the grinder and the sieve, sodium carbonate is grounded into small pieces and then sieved, then finally pushed to the chamber where it is bagged and stored, and also it is transported from that part. So from this part, we move to the last chamber whereby we have it is bagged and stored, ready for transportation. So that is how we obtain sodium carbonate. You find that in this lake, that for example, this Trona is only obtained in salty water lakes. The salty water lakes are lakes which have only inlets but do not have outlets. For example, in Kenya we have Lake Magadi, which is an example of the salty water lake whereby we can obtain Trona. So you find that during the day, Trona crystallizes out at 40 degrees Celsius, leaving back a solution that has got a higher concentration of sodium chloride. So at night, sodium chloride will also crystallize out at a temperature of 21 degrees Celsius. So sodium chloride crystallizes out at 21 degrees Celsius at night. So sodium chloride is removed at night at a temperature of 21 degrees Celsius. So that is all about extraction from Trona. In our next video, we will be able to look at the solvay process. Kindly subscribe, like, and comment.